It's time for the news.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, has met in Berlin with the Vice Chancellor and German Minister of Economy and Climate, Mr. Robert Habeck, with whom he discussed Algerian-German economic partnership and ways and means for strengthening them. In a report related to marking the anniversary, Amnesty International accused Spain and Morocco of a cover-up for failing to properly investigate events at the Melilla border last year. After 2 days of talks overhauling the global financial system to tackle climate change, more than 40 world leaders who assembled in Paris this week made limited progress on reforms that could increase support from rich countries to poor countries facing crises. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, has met in Berlin with the Vice Chancellor and German Minister of Economy and Climate, Mr. Robert Habeck, with whom he had talks on the Algerian-German economic partnership and ways and means for strengthening it. The talks were part of Mr. Attaf's work and visit to Germany on the instructions of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The discussions between the two parties focused on the Algerian-German economic partnership relations and the prospects for strengthening them, particularly in the light of the new projects that the two parties aspire to implement in the field of renewable energies and green hydrogen. Mr. Attaf welcomed the agreement reached between Germany, Australia and Italy on the South 2 Corridor hydrogen project, which will pave the way for an extended agreement within the European Union to support this project, which aims to recover 10% of Europe's energy needs. The two parties also discussed the next bilateral deadline, stressing the need to begin preparations for the next session of the Joint Economic Commission between the two countries by organizing a meeting of at experts level in Algeria next October in order to assess the progress in the achievements of the objectives of the bilateral partnership at all levels. The two ministers also examined the state of relations between Algeria and the EU, as well as the means allowing European partners to provide more support to the efforts deployed by our country in favor of security and stability in the Sahel-Saharan region. Mr. Attaf invited on the occasion the German Vice Chancellor to make an official visit to Algeria. The German minister welcomed the invitation, wishing to fulfill it in the beginning of next year. The Minister of Fisheries and Fishing Products, Ahmed Badani, has taken part in Malta in the proceedings of the second high-level ministerial conference of the Initiative for the Development of Sustainable Blue Economy in the Western Mediterranean. Mr. Badani met on the sidelines of the conference, held on the 22nd, 23rd of the current month, with the Maltese Minister of Transport, Infrastructure and Big Projects and the Tunisian Secretary of State to the Foreign Ministry, Migration and Tunisians Abroad, as well as the Mauritanian Minister of Fisheries and Maritime Economy. The meeting constituted an opportunity to discuss the strengthening of cooperation and partnership as part of the field of development of sustainable economy or blue economy. Protesters wearing white masks and carrying signs reading "Massacre" and "Europe Responsible" have marked the anniversary of a mass attempt to cross from Morocco into the Spanish enclave of Melilla, in which at least 23 migrants and refugees died. In a report released to mark the anniversary, Amnesty International accused Spain and Morocco of a cover-up for failing to properly investigate events at the Melilla border last year. In the incident, around 2,000 migrants and refugees from sub-Saharan Africa attempted to enter Melilla from Morocco. At least 37 died and at least 76 are still missing. Morocco said 23 people died in a crash when migrants fell from the fence, and Spain has said no deaths occurred on its soil. Amnesty said authorities in Spain and Morocco had made no attempt to repatriate victims' remains, and they had not provided a full list of names and causes of death, as well as CCTV footage which could inform an investigation. The United Nations has called for an immediate action to be taken to put a halt to the killing of those people fleeing the capital of the Darfur West State, El Ghneina, in Sudan's western part. The UN High Commission for Refugees for Human Rights expressed deep concern at the killings it blamed on militias linked to the Rapid Support paramilitary forces. It stressed the necessity to guarantee a safe gateway to those fleeing the area and to allow the humanitarian agencies to have access to the region to regain the corpses. forces. It said on the basis of testimonies provided by the population that the militias had carried out summary executions and attack, targeting civilians fleeing the region to seek refuge in neighboring Chad. The UN High Commission for Human Rights urged the leaders of the Rapid Support paramilitary forces to condemn and to stop the killings. According to the UN, 11,000 people have been killed in El Geneina, where violence continued to hit mainly the Masalist community. The UN Coordination Office for the Human Affairs put at 52,000 the number of people who have fled the fighting in Sudan for Ethiopia alone. The violence has destroyed the basic infrastructure and hampered the funneling of humanitarian aid. Sierra Leoneans are voting today in a general election following a tense campaign marred by violence. This election is taking place against the background of a troubled economy, the rising cost of living, as well as concerns about national unity. On Wednesday, the main opposition party alleged that one of its supporters was shot dead by police, which the police have denied. Supporters of both main parties have been accused of attacking opponents. The voters are choosing as president, MPs, and councillors in the West African country's fifth election since the civil war ended in 2002. And in Mali, the draft constitution submitted by the transitional authorities to a referendum has secured 97% of votes. According to the provisional results released by the Independent National Election Commission, the turnout has reached 39.40%. The referendum constituted a step forward towards the organization of elections slated for 2024. To the Middle East now, where one Palestinian was shot dead by the Israeli soldiers at a checkpoint in Qalandiya, north of occupied Jerusalem. His death brought to over 170 the number of Palestinians killed by the Israeli occupying forces since the beginning of this year. Meanwhile, a new Jewish settlement was set up in Palestinian municipality amid a reinforced Israeli security. The news agency Wafa quoted a municipality official as saying that scores of Jewish settlers took control of part of the Palestinian Al-Qaeda area. The Jewish settlers have intensified their attacks on the Palestinian village and municipalities where several houses were set ablaze with the aim of seizing control of the Palestinian areas. Earlier, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry denounced Israel's new settlement plans in the West Bank, saying they constitute an attempt or a contempt to international legitimacy. It stressed that the Israeli government had authorized associations of Jewish settlers to set up scores of outspots in various parts of the Palestinian territory. The Israeli Foreign Ministry affirmed that the Israeli plans were designed to speed up the annexation of the West Bank, including occupied Jerusalem. It stated that Israel's decision would undermine all prospects for a reactivation of the peace process, including the implementation of the two-state solution. In this respect, Palestine's representative at the UN, Riyad Mansour, urged the international community to take up its responsibilities and make the Israeli government and Jewish settlers account for their actions. Now, after 2 days of talks overhauling the global financial system to tackle climate change, more than 40 world leaders who assembled in Paris this week made limited progress on reforms that could increase support for rich countries to poor countries facing crises. This summit has been an incredibly important opportunity to firm our shared commitment to a stronger and better quality global financial architecture, and importantly, to focus on concrete, meaningful actions to achieve this. Official development assistance, which reached more than $200 billion in 2022, is and will remain a critical source of external financing for developing countries, and it will become increasingly important when it comes to filling financing gaps for cross-border challenges, in particular tackling climate change and responding better to pandemics. But it cannot solve all development challenges given the scale of financing needs. This was reported by the participants in the summit. And now several international organizations say that over 2,750 civilians have been killed since the beginning of this year in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. The Forum of NGOs in DRC, including the International Security Organization, INZO, which is in charge of humanitarian security issues, have launched a call for an urgent humanitarian mobilization. The forum, that brings together 124 NGOs, deplored the presence of armed groups activated in various areas of the country, leading to violence and causing a massive displacement of the population. This, it's stressed, worsened furthermore the already fragile humanitarian situation in DRC. In this connection, the Médecins Sans Frontières organization called for a rapid and concrete increase of humanitarian aid to the North Kivu, which is facing a large-scale crisis. And finally, the foreign ministers of the Group of Seven, or G7, today met in Brussels to exchange views on the situation now prevailing in Russia. The announcement was made by the EU diplomacy chief Joseph Borrell, who stressed the EU member state which were in contact with their partners were carefully following the situation in Russia, which they describe as a domestic issue. And with this last piece of news, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Time now for a weekly program, starting with sports legends and achievements by my colleague Mohamed Brazwan, which will be followed by two other programs devoted to tourism in Algeria. And with this, we come to the end of it. We'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin in English. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.
Radio Algeria International presents Sports Legends and Achievements. Sports Legends. Focus on famous world sports athletes who made history. Sports Legends. Now bask in the reflected glory. Sports Legends and Achievements. Hello out there and a hearty welcome. Today we rivet the spotlight on talented English football player, namely Harry Winks. English international midfielder Harry Winks was born on the 2nd of February 1996 and raised in Hemel Hempstead, England. Along with his parents, Winks is a Tottenham Hotspur fan and attended his first match at White Hart Lane when he was 6. Winks signed his pro contract with Tottenham Hotspur Academy in July 2012 and went on to make 13 appearances for their under-18s in 2012-2013, also playing in 2 FA Youth Cup ties and 4 next game matches. Harry Winks signed his pro contract with Tottenham Hotspur Academy in July 2012 and went on to make 13 appearances for the under-18s in 2012-13 and playing in 2 FA Youth Cup ties and 4 next-gen matches. The 2013-2014 season saw Harry Winks named on the first-team bench in high-profile matches at Liverpool, Benfica and West Bromwich Albion, having also played 5 matches for the under-21 scoring ones. In addition, he netted 4 goals in 14 appearances in the under-18 Premier League and played in both FA Youth Cup ties during that campaign. In 2014-2015, he made 18 appearances in the Under-21 Premier League, scoring twice, and made his first-team debut when he went on as a substitute in a 1-0 Europa League group stage win over Partizan Belgrade in November 2014. During 2015-2016 season, Harry Winks made substitute appearances in the Europa League against Karabakh and Fiorentina, in addition to featuring 11 times for the under-21s, including 2 starts in the Premier League Under-21 International Cup. After an impressive pre-season campaign in summer 2016, Harry Winks made his Premier League debut as a late substitute against Liverpool on August 27, 2016, and earned his first senior start in the 5-0 home win over Gillingham in the EFL Cup the following month. In November 2016, he scored in his first Premier League start in a dramatic 3-2 home win over London rival West Ham United. Ankle problems affected this talented midfielder in 2017-2018 season, but he still produced memorable displays against Real Madrid at home and away in the UEFA Champions League. The 2018-2019 season saw him feature 41 times in all competitions, striking up a fine midfield partnership with resurgent Moussa Sissoko. Harry Winks has been capped by England at under 17, under 18, under 19, under 20, under 21 and senior level, making his full debut with an assured display in a 1-0 away victory against Lithuania in qualifying for the 2018 FIFA World Cup in October 2017. Talented Harry Winks signed a new 5-year contract with Tottenham Hotspur Club in July 2019. And that's it for now. Until next time, this is Mohammed Balazwan from Algiers wishing you all the best. Stay healthy and keep on reaching for the stars.
في طريقي غريب مسافر حب يشوف زين الطبيعة والمنظر مدينة داير.
Welcome to your weekly program, Destination Algeria. I'm Jamal Slimani. There are a number of great destinations in Algeria just waiting to be discovered. A curious mixture of cultures and influences. Algeria has something interesting to see in just about every city. The country is also the first largest on the African continent, so you can be sure that there are plenty of towns and cities to visit. Let's visit Algeria's fascinating destinations, you and I, together. There are a number of delightful little towns in Algeria that are well worth visiting. One of the lovely coastal towns you might want to know more about is that of Delis. The rich and fascinating history of Delis in Algeria can be traced back all the way to Roman times. In fact, it can still be seen in the form of a 2nd century Roman ruin that is found near the northern entrance of the old city. Many of the other Roman artifacts found in Delis were taken to other countries and displayed in museums many years ago. Even in Roman times, Delis quickly became a powerful and influential city. It is thought that this original city was destroyed by either an earthquake or an invasion. Either way, the city was then rebuilt by the Arabs who moved to the region for political reasons. During this time, it was called Titlis. Many centuries later, it was taken over by the Turks and became a part of the Ottoman Empire. During this time, there were many different tribes and peoples living in Delis, and the city continued to prosper. According to Juan Battista Montalbano, an 18th century Italian philologist, Delis was a very prosperous port that was home to a number of rich families. He attributed this wealth mainly to the area's wool and flax dyeing resources. The city went on to become a popular holiday city, with many entertainment and sporting facilities being built. After many years of sovereign rule, Algeria finally took control of its own cities and towns, and so Delis finally became a truly Algerian city. Today, the list in Algeria is filled with interesting ruins, relics and artifacts. Its diverse history has given it great appeal, while its striking coastal setting and colorful sunsets just cannot be ignored. The Ottoman-era Kasbah is a popular attraction, while the two colonial-era lighthouses continue to stand tall, indicating to ships where they should sail in order to safely make berth at the small port. Farming and fishing continue to be prominent activities here, and there is a distinctly industrious but relaxed feeling in the city. If you feel you'd like to see this town, you'll discover it to be a rich treasure trove of lovely sights.
في طريقي غريب مسافر حبي يشوف زين الطبيعة والمنظر مدينة لمدينة ضايع.
Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. This is our second part of your program, Destination Algeria. Looking for something interesting to do while you're visiting Algeria? You might find that a trip to Wad El Abyad will amaze and excite you. This great topographical attraction boggles the mind and gives you an immense appreciation for the wonders of nature. Wad El Abyad in Algeria might easily be called the Gorges in English. These incredible natural wonders were beautifully carved out of the soft Oras mountains by seasonal rivers over the course of millions of years. Each portion of the Gorges is unique and inspiring, and it is worth exploring all aspects of them to get the full impression of this great natural attraction. Visitors to Wad El Abyad will usually approach via National 3 or National 31, depending on whether they are arriving from the north or south of the country. Many visitors will simply pass by without even realizing that such a great natural wonder lies close by. If you are planning to pass through the area between Betna and Biskra, make sure you take your time and try to avoid public transport, which will overshoot the area, resulting in you missing out on this great attraction in Algeria. Most visitors start their exploration of Wad El Abyad in the village of Roufi, which is the easiest place from which to reach the gorge of Tiranimim. Roufi is located about 90 kilometers from Betna and has a reputation for busy vendors enthusiastically trading goat hair carpets. However, far from impressive is the Roufi balcony, from where you can gain your first glimpse at the impressive Wad El Abyad gorges you will be exploring from high above. After venturing through the village and setting out for the gorges, you will find the walk on foot very pleasant, as a palm-sided river bed accompanies trek. Steep hillsides and the little river keep you cool even in summer. Little villages do the route and can be explored as you make your way along. If you travel in a southerly direction, you should reach the Benyam Oasis by lunchtime and the beautiful Mshumish Oasis by the end of the day. You can choose how long you want to spend walking Wad El Abyad in Algeria, but if you walk the whole way, it will take you 3 to 4 days. Visitors should keep in mind that the area is fairly rural and there isn't much in the way of accommodation, although you should find nice enough facilities at some of the bigger pit stops along the way. For that reason, you should take your own camping equipment, food and bedding, although you shouldn't have to carry too much, as supplies can usually be purchased along the way.
زينة 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 أرض بلادي زينة 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 أرض أجدادي مرحبا بالطفل جا زارنا زارنا أرض بلادي مرحبا بالطفل جا زارنا زارنا أرض أجدادي.
Hello and welcome to this fresh edition of Inspiring Figures. Today we'll shed light on a promising young Algerian author, namely Kawthar Ademi. Kawthar Ademi was born in Algiers in 1986. She's a graduate in modern literature and human resources management. From the age of 4 to the age of 8, she lived with her family in Grenoble in France. It's during this period that she discovered the pleasure of reading by going to the public library every week with her dad. In 1994, she returned to Algeria during the Black Decade. Having very few opportunities to read, she started to write her own stories. While she was studying in Algiers University, she entered a writing contest organized by the French Institute for the Young Writers in Muret. The short story she submitted held the attention of the jury, who published it in a collection alongside the other laureates' productions. Thanks to this contest, she was invited to Muret, to the French city of Muret, then to Toulouse, and finally to Paris, where she met with the publishing house Balzac. In 2009, she wrote her first novel, L'Envers des Autres. The same year, she left Algiers for Paris. Like many Algerians and Franco-Algerians, the novelist Kawthar Ademi has spent much of her life moving between Algiers, where she was born, and Paris, where she now lives. The two countries are thoroughly intertwined, a relationship Ademi explores with nuance and determination in her third novel, Our Reaches, newly translated by the excellent Chris Andrews. Moving adeptly from colonized Algiers to the present day, and from a beloved bookstore's birth to its near death, Ademi at once offers a love letter to literary culture, Algerian independence, and the city of Algiers. She takes her title from Les Vraies Richesses, Algiers' famous bookstore, library and publishing house, where much of Our Riches takes place. It was founded in the mid-30s by a 20-year-old Algerian Frenchman named Edmond Charlot, a literary wonderkind most famous for discovering Albert Camus. His life story, told a diary form, takes up half the novel. Ademi alternates it with a collectively narrated account of Algeria's rejection of colonial rule, which shades into the tale of the bookstore's fate after independence. It first becomes a library, then in 2017 gets sold to an entrepreneur who wants to turn it into a beignet store. That's it for today's edition of Inspiring Figures. From me, Aziz Agassi, and producer Mohamed Yousfi, thank you for joining us.